You should see it come up. I don't know if I need to click it a second time. Okay. So yeah, if you want to play around with that, you can grab it and just do a new scene here, and we'll start with the main. So this is going to be our main fun time. The cool one for today. So yeah, I want to do Vellum stuff to this box. We could start with other tests. Pig. Yeah, no problem, Seagull. Sorry, it's a quick exploration. There is possibilities and stuff. I'm gonna give up on it for right now. I need to spend more time looking into the paper and stuff, I believe. All right. So what I want to do is make something here that's gonna convert these into lines, or like vellum strands. This is kind of a hacky method, but it usually works pretty well. So if you start with a grid here, you just move it up a little bit, make a stack, and then I'll usually use this match size. So these put all of our stacks of grid into a box, or unit size. So however many we want now, we don't need to worry about like adjusting these parameters or compensating or anything like that. So this is just a quick way of making a stack of however many slices we want in a box. And then with the pig, you can just do match size with him as well. So we'll know. You should see these. We'll know now that he'll always be inside of this box. If you want to do some padding or something like that, you can always shrink it a little bit, just so he's not right up on the edges. And then if we do Boolean, what we can do, we want him to be solid. These are going to be surfaces. And like, right now here it's already sliced him up pretty cleanly. If you want to examine it, you could look at the assemble. And maybe randomize the color per primitive. If you don't want this garbage happening, you just should usually assign normals before you do this Boolean fracturing or cutting. You could do maybe by face area, and that's a little bit, you can see it's dealing with his eye a little bit better, I believe. So that's one idea. Pretty cool results you can get all the time. And then this is making like inside edges or whatever. If we do this exploded view, you can make him, he's kind of falling apart there, but we have a bunch of slices of him now. If you don't want that inside part, you could switch this to surface, and then that will treat him like ribbons or whatever. So if we just look at this and we want to try it with Vellum, let's do Vellum cloth. Vellum solver. And I'm just gonna start putting some noise inside of here. So we can do this pop force. And this, I'm just gonna do kind of like ambient wind direction stuff. You can, so good trick if you want to visualize this swirl scale. You can turn this guide on. It's nice. It doesn't give you the best. When you go down to like these scales, it's kind of hard to visualize, but it's a little helpful. So we'll do that. We'll turn off gravity, and then you can see we have our ribbons flying around. So that's pretty cool. You can do a funny thing like that. Might want to do like some more drag. You can do all kinds of stuff here. If we do this, attract, just suck him in to the middle as well as add the noise. You make him go into like a little rubber band ball or something like that. Yes, with this one, this is actually a video. This is on YouTube. I don't know how easy it is. It should be pretty easy to find, I think. It was like fairly recent. I believe this is it. So yeah, if you watch that, it's a little technical, but it goes through all the recreating that kind of effect for sure. Okay. So this is one thing we can do with those slices. It's pretty interesting. I'm gonna move this over, and I'm gonna switch this to seam. So this wouldn't just give us curves now. And I'm gonna move everything over. So one thing you can do if you want these lines to be in a different direction, you just rotate it. Give him a spin, and what we're gonna do is save this X form, the transform. And we'll also do that. So if we record these attributes for this transform or X form attribute, those are meant to get used by transform by attribute. And looks like we lost it after that step, but we can always just get it back with attribute copy, and then just set this to X form, and we want to invert transform. So what this is doing is putting it in the exact same starting place that we had the original geometry in. So we basically use this, we record our rotation into this special matrix detail attribute. This guy, we're also like concatenating or combining the matrices. You just want, if you do replace existing, it will mess it up. You just want to do pre-multiply to keep like adding on or appending more scaling or moving operations. But yeah, this way is really cool for keeping stuff in the same place. So like if I subtract frame from there, do add frame times 4 or something like that, we can rotate so it will look like the slices are hitting them at different directions, but in reality we're cutting like that. It's kind of a brain melter or whatever, but it once you step through it or whatever, it should make sense. Yeah, we could try to do one of these at some point. This is definitely like pretty advanced stuff, pretty detailed, but big with like flip fluids, some weird forces or gravities, and playing with the colors. That should get you close to like this kind of track. Definitely they're using some kind of video or image to drive some of this stuff, it looks like, as well. I think it has some fluid properties, but you can also build some velocities for it using this volume optical flow. If you look online, there's some examples with this where you take video or image to basically make motion, like velocity fields or forces from it. But it's possible they're just using like the color to like add buoyancy or things like that with a fluid simulation. All right, so we'll get back to this. Again, we can change our slices. If we want more or less of them, we can do that. If you look here, these line segments might not be too detailed. If you add like subdivision to the skin here, you'll get a little bit more accurate. It will take a little bit longer, but you'll get more high resolution curves. And then you do like wireframe. And get some nicer visualization. Or just make it look a little bit fuller. Yeah, Isan has some really crazy techniques and stuff that he uses. It's always super cool to watch his experiments. Okay, we'll do get into Vellum now, and we'll do this time. We have a few options. I think you can either do hair or what do they call the other one? It's wire? Or I thought that there was a strand one. If you want to kill particles in flip fluid, it should be pretty easy. You can just add this kill attribute. You might have to turn this on, or you might not. But if you do this node here, or you can just set the kill attribute however you want. And because this has a particle solver inside of it, this basically looks, and if you have any dead, it will remove them. You might need to do the reap. I think you'll need to do the reap. Yeah, to enable that. But if you just assign this attribute I at dead to number 1, then the solver will automatically delete them. But you can just delete them yourself if you want with like in a SOP solver you can use blast or delete or anything like that. Alright. So you have that. We should be good with it. All right. So we can do another Vellum solver. Wait, let's just grab this one. It's gonna be faster. Oof. All right. So you can do that. And we get a similar result. I might... just try to make these a little bit thicker. I don't know if that's going to be too thick. All right, so that can be cool. I'm going to try something now with you can do this VOP. And I'm gonna make like a mask. So do this vector to vector 4. We can get a black and white. And then if we just fit range it, we've got like a kind of alpha channel, just something that's either black or white. I might switch this. Maybe we'll do the whirly noise. So this gives you more of a cellular pattern. So this might work better. Now we'll have like these discrete detached areas, different cells. Instead of this is a little bit more like blobby, or it's not as crisp or whatever. So we can do this. Maybe something like that. If you want to move this around over time, you can do that. Okay, hold on. I'm going to we want to remove the time dependency from this Boolean, so we're not cutting it new every frame. So you can just do this. This will be hold frame. So now we're visualizing stuff without like changing the topology or cutting it every frame. If you change this 4th dimension, the frequency of it, Lower numbers is lower frequency or just slower motion. That's pretty cool. With this whirly, you can also generate a random number based off of which seed or which cell it's in. If you multiply it by that, what this can let us do is, like, before we have a lot more active areas, but we can use this to, like, further reduce how much areas will be active at the same time. Usachi. I'm not sure about viewport hiding objects. You could look through these viewport settings. It depends. If you have a really heavy scene, it might be trying to do that as like an optimization to keep your stuff more interactive. It's possible it's the clipping planes. You would either set those on the camera or on this view. You could turn this on or off. Sometimes if you get geometry from other 3D packages, it will be really big for Houdini, and these defaults here will kind of get thrown off by it. And as soon as you move out of the camera, like you move your view from camera to perspective, everything will disappear. So it's definitely a good point from Steve that it might be clipping planes as well. Some of these questions, if you record a quick screen recording, sometimes that might be easier for people to debug it or help you out more quickly. So we have this mask and that, and we'll just use this to drive a curl noise. So we'll say, if we just add the curl noise to everything, it's going to be a mess. it's too much. So we'll just usually go into this one. It's a little bit too much of a mess. But if we mask our curl noise by that, now we just will get these little areas that are going to squirt out. We could play around with our numbers to get different results. It's pretty cool. Lincoln Black, how's it going? We are playing around in Vellum right now with these hair, the strands. We were trying out some different techniques. So one of them is more like ribbons. Just playing around with this and seeing where, seeing what happens. How much dastardly deeds we can do to this pig. We'll put a no here. So the reason to do this, if you use, let's get rid of this stuff for a second. The Vellum property, I think it's rest blend. We can use that null as a target kind of like reference. So we do that. We want to update it every frame, and you can just try it here. You can see that those areas are trying to get longer, and they should get shorter again or return to their original length after that. Stuff updates. Let's do this. Rashid, how's it going? We can let's try this. These new nodes. Still a little bit of a mess. Let's do this. Let's just color it a little bit more interesting. We can do this infrared style coloring, and I'll just take this and move it over. So if we want to visualize both of these at once, we can kind of inspect what's happening now. So as this stuff lights up, it will try to initialize or like update the rest length. So expand or shrink these curves to catch up with it. But this doesn't change, it doesn't influence positions. It doesn't work like pins or anchors or anything like that. It's only adjusting the constraint lengths and how close or loose those curves are going to be. So if we want to do the Vellum constraints, we can use this. The UI layout, most of it is just stuff. If you go like view, what is it? Disable show custom node shapes. Preferences, network editor here. You do simplified shape when node shape's off. And then to get these like no drop shadows or more of the flat UI, if you just go to Google and search for Slate Odd Force, you'll get this link here. And then this is the theme. So you can put it in your home Houdini folder and you'll get that. Duck Fack, thank you for the 7 months of Prime. Let's go. Yes, I was away. I was out of town for a couple of weeks, but I'm hoping to get back into I have some other stuff planned and should be getting some more exciting streams going soon. More of a regular basis. So we can do pin. Do maybe soft. And then these will try to attract stuff back to the original position. I'm gonna get rid of the subdivision a little bit to just speed up the simulation and stuff like that overall. If you guys want to get caught up, we can do a scene file update. Andre, how's it going? So you grab that and you'll be caught up to where I am right now. Andre, thank you for the 2 months. Tier 1. Let's go. So you can see it's going to spend some more time, or it's going to try a little bit harder to return these to their original position. And you might even want to try less of less strength on those constraints. Let's see what happens if we make this really wild. Might be too much. Alright. Oh, this alright. So I might get rid of that visualization for a second. I might turn the slices down a little bit, just to have less of them. And you can go up to the higher resolution. Let's see what we get here. Some of these, I think if they're like moving around too abruptly like that, if you go in here with this, just a blend, we just do like 15% update. This should usually give you a little smoother results for these things. If you don't want a wireframe, you don't want to use the wire SOP like that. One thing you can do is if you just make a width attribute, this is a super secret trick. You assign a width attribute, and then if you go up to the object level on the MISC tab, shade open curves, and you get these nice ribbon display. Super lightweight for the viewport. You can do tons of curves that way, and it's pretty optimized or whatever for the viewport. Look at that. It's pretty nice. All right. This might be too slow. We'll see. I'm gonna turn down some of these iterations and stuff. It doesn't look too bad. Organic Computer, thank you for the 8 months. The champion lurker. Thank you. Yeah. I've been getting back to the music a little bit. I need to update my my library though. So I don't know if these. You see, we're kind of running out of like resolution here, so we might need higher, more divisions per curve. You can use the U or V direction of the quads or of the geometry. It depends how you want to set it up, but I think the quickest way to do that kind of stuff is with the polyframe. I might need to do it before I slice him up. So if we look here, or maybe even just the lower resolution one, by default, these directions here, you might want to do like first edge. This would be the U or V direction, like the intrinsic of the quads, like of the winding order, if that makes sense. So you could have that, and this would be the two directions. I usually don't do it super often because unless your topology is like really specific, you can get some weird seams and stuff like that. But it's definitely possible. Like if you just did this into the velocity, these would then be your motion vectors that you could transfer over. Real first sap. How's it going? Yeah, we're playing around with Vellum. We have this guy, the pig, sliced up, and we've been playing around with like getting portions of him kind of spun out like this, and then based off of a noise mask, we're just releasing some threads or some yarns, and then pulling them back to the surface. The ramen noodle pig head. So yeah, looks like we're getting some tangling happening there. I might have gone too low with the stretch stiffness. So this constraint here, this is like kind of position, how strongly it will try to pull it back to the original position. So I think it was too loose before and we were getting a good amount of tangling. So we got that. I'm gonna go into my mask here. Let's try this. All right. We could try updating this as well. That might be more interesting. I think it's too high frequency, or we're updating it too quickly over time. But I think that that's going to be a little bit more interesting as well. So this stuff is still a little too springy or jiggly. Let's go a little bit higher with our constraints. Let's see what we have here. keeps getting a little bit messed up like that. Might need more damping. And then it looks like I'm starting to run out of the cache or whatever. When I'm just previewing it, the blue bar or whatever at the bottom of the screen is filling up. So I'm gonna start flipbooking this. Spend some time getting a little bit better of a camera angle as well. Maybe just something like this. All right, see what we get. So yeah, I'm hoping this stuff here will get, I'm just trying to have it settle down a little bit. I don't know why it keeps getting so ruffled. It might be from the collisions. So I might have left the collision size like too big after I made all these curves. All right. Let's just reduce the number of curves. Make them a little bit thicker. And this was the collision size that I was worried. If those are getting too thick, that might be causing like the little zigzags. It's a little bit better. Alright, I'm gonna let this update more slowly. I'm just moving the noise patterns around here so they're at a different starting setting. Let's try like calming our driving mask down a little bit more. Alright, I see some other things I want to fix real quick. So I'm going to take our pins and make them stronger. I'm going to take this noise and reduce the frequency of it. So we can do that. What I might do as well is like switch this so So if we copy the normal over, this attribute transfer, then we can mix this in. So we'll do a mixture of some of the curl noise and just pushing it more generally outwards. We'll just reduce strength a little bit. I think if you want to smooth some of this business up a little bit, we can just do attribute blur. I always have a hard time remembering, but you can do any attribute with this. So if we set that to N, then we're blurring that direction. We should get a little bit smoother of a result. All right. This should be good. We could also try a different slicing orientation. I might have done this. It was a bad guess of a number. Okay. So these slices might be cooler. So it looks like we're doing a better job not having those crinkly ones stay behind or anything like that. Let me tweak this mask a little bit more. I'm going to soften the edges so we have a less of an abrupt transition, like between fully expanded and unexpanded. September. Good to see you. So yeah, this might be a little bit more interesting. I think we're getting somewhere. So we could try some other stuff. Maybe VDB from particles. So it's kind of weird with Houdini, like the viewport, it always wants width for the curves. But if you want to use this for VDB from particles, we're going to want to use this p-scale attribute. It already exists, so we can just delete it, erase it, and then we can rename width to p-scale. And then if we plug it in like this, we should see, whoops, then the VDB will respect the same like attribute that we were visualizing. So we just delete p-scale, existing, and then rename p-scale to rename width to p-scale. And this might be a little bit more interesting, like more organic. Can convert. Is there like a metaball kind of effect? Maybe we'll do a smooth SDF. All right, we'll see what that looks like. If you just press the P button, you will get the parameters tab in the top right of the node view, AV8. So yeah, sorry about that, but anytime people are trying to recreate my UI, I feel bad because there's like 8 different boxes and steps and stuff like that you have to check to get it to look exactly the same. There's like the UI file you need to get from OddForce. No worries, I was flip booking anyways, so I had a pause. But yeah, just P, you can remember it, P for parameters, and it brings up that nice like floating panel type of thing. So this is pretty nice. I might want to try to do something where like these ones that are getting released are bigger. Have a bigger P scale where they become more inflated as well, and that could be cool. I don't know, I might play around with this pattern some more. So basically with this Voronoi or whirly noise, I'm gonna just try to offset the position over time. So if I use this time and add it to the Y coordinate of the position, everything seems like it's scrolling down. And we could just negate that, and we'll get it like it's shifting up. Deeds, how's it going? We're back. All right, so we can use this. We should be able to use this same null if we want to do like attribute copy or anything like that. We should be able to retrieve the color. Because you're doing Vellum, the point count will always, you usually you don't change the point count, so we're a little bit lucky that this will work so easy. And we could do something here where the width will get the color added to it. Maybe we'll just multiply it by a smaller number. So we'll just rearrange this stuff a little bit more. Steffi Fung, how's it going? Good to see you in here. It's been a while. Yeah, I switched my streaming time a little bit. I'm on different. I feel bad because it threw some of the old people off. But yeah, if anyone doesn't follow Steffi Fung, definitely follow her on Twitch. Fabulous, marvelous designer, Cinema 4D streams. I got myself confused here. I did disappear. I'm sorry. Yes, I disappeared for a few months. Like at the start of this year, I was taking some time off. but I'm back, getting back to a more regular schedule now. It might be a little bit easier for some of the EU streamers or the EU audience members. Okay, so I want to do that. I can just set the color to white, or to 1 after that. So if we take a look, we are getting bigger p-scales in that area now. Might be a little too much. Just a little too wild. Alright. Let's see what it looks like. Could be too much. But yeah, I have a feeling this could look more interesting, like organic or whatever. Some kind of biology experiment, or some kind of microorganism or something. I might want to do that same attribute blur stuff, so we don't have like these edges as sharp or whatever. But I think this could work pretty well. It's like you're inflating it, like little air balloons or something like that. You fill them with air and then they go upwards or something. We've made our little pig head full of like the little clown, the hot dog balloons or whatever. It's kind of gnarly. All right, I think this could be cool. Let's ooh, look at that. We got some free abstract art. Zapped him. All right. So you can make a cache of our simulation, and before we do this, you always want to get rid of like all these extra attributes, so you're not saving more information than you need. In this situation right now, I think we can we only need to keep the P, or the point position, so this should free up a lot of space. This is my fault with the balloons. So like you can check sometimes here, memory 2.95 megabytes, 1.3, so like each frame or the entire cache on disk should be at least like half the file size now. What I might do, you can always save more frames or do extra like funky stuff with that extra space that you saved on your hard drive. So I'm just going to save extra frames if I want to try a different segment of the simulation or something like that. Do this as a cache. go up a new version. Get that going. If you guys want to catch up where I am, you can get that file here. So I have this caching in the background. Should go pretty fast. All right. Whoop. Load from disk. All right. Now we're actually looking at the disk results. Caching out flip sims, do you leave enable caching? If you're working with really big data sets or high particle counts on the flip solver, I usually turn this off. If you're saving it out, or even if you're doing a flip book, like once you get to the point where you're not using this blue bar, and you're just saving each frame like via flipbook to disk, or saving the geo to disk, I definitely would advise turning this off. You can also do it, depends where you want to set it, but like on the flip object, you can uncheck this and that will be the same thing, but it just depends where you want to turn it on and off. Usually I'll do it up here because if other people look at the file, they don't check this as much and they might think that something's broken if they don't see it. But yeah, it should speed things up for you because it's not caching stuff to RAM and to disk. It's just saving it to disk, so it's less IO or input-output operations. So it should not only save your RAM from filling up, but it should be a little bit faster. With this simulation I'm doing right now, I'm not as worried about it because it's a pretty low data like thing or whatever, but if I really wanted to optimize stuff even more, I could turn that off as well. All right, so we have that guy coming in. The other thing I was talking about was doing this blur for the colors here. So if we blur our color, we'll get a softer like transition or whatever between the inflated and uninflated areas. So you can even visualize here where this blur is a less abrupt kind of like transition or whatever from just smooth out those bits that look a little bit weird. Damn Panders, good to see you. All right, so that's working a little bit better. Let's check out one of these frames down here. Ooh, this part gets a little bit gnarly. Might need to reframe the camera a little bit. Yeah, the chops stuff can work well, especially if you're blurring stuff over time to blend that kind of stuff. This attribute blur, I usually prefer to use it before turning to chops. So internally, this uses OpenCL to do the blurring, so you can do like tons of iterations and it's super fast. But yeah, the chops, geometry chops and stuff is super useful as well. You could even do this with the point position. don't know how much I want to do, but it can be nice to remove a little bit of this extra like high frequency noise. I'm gonna see if I can get, I don't know if I like this stuff getting blurred together so much like that. Let's see what happens if we start to reduce some of the settings here. I'm gonna try to make it look more like individual strings. Ooh. So I was doing this subdivide, but I might need to do some more iterations of that. If you run out of, like if your points are too spaced out, that's what's causing that blobbiness, the spheres. So like without any subdivision, we get a pearl necklace kind of effect. If you want to fix that or to smooth that out, you could even overdo it or whatever. It's usually pretty fast to do tons of points to volumes with that VDB from particles. Let's try to find an interesting frame. This one could be cool. I'm gonna try to hijack this color as well. So we can do attribute transfer. Down here. And just get the color. If you have these harsh edges or whatever, you might want to do like more samples. That will kind of smooth everything together as well. So we could use this attribute, this mask for our shader, in our shader as well. And that could be pretty cool. Like if we want to treat these like they're balloons or something, we could even make them more subsurface or more transparent or something like that. It could be cool. This is maybe a little bit too many points. We have we could try doing some of this adaptivity to reduce our, if you're rendering with Redshift, it's nice to not try to render so many points at once. Just for testing, we can try this. And then we'll just make our normals. And usually for VDB surfaces, I do that face area as well. Like if you're just looking here, we were doing vertex angle, you get some gnarly, crinkly bits. But this will give you a more smooth mesh. So for fluid surface or anything like that, this weighting method seems to work a lot better. All right, I'm gonna do a Redshift light dome. Grab a HDRI. maybe this Misty Pines. If you go here for resources, and you can find some nice HDRIs. This Misty Pines, for sure, it's from HDRI Haven. So if you want to get it, it's free there as well. Or I'm sorry, they rebranded maybe, Polyhaven. Deeds, thank you for the Amazon, thank you for the Twitch Prime. I appreciate it. So yeah, you could get this HDRI here. They have tons of nice ones. This one is pretty interesting as well. But I'll just get started with this Misty Pines. I think if we do this, we should see it in the viewport. We'll do redshift. I'm gonna turn off I'm gonna turn off ASUS for right now as well. All right, so we have him. How did you transfer to ASUS? In the new Redshift, what you're gonna want to do is on the ROP, you'll see this OCIO rendering space. This is just if you're using Redshift after. I don't remember exactly when they changed it. It might have been 3.0.48. But in new versions of Redshift, you can manage it from there. And then on your PostFX, I believe if you do untone mapped and sRGB, then this is every color management from ASUS is turned off. But you could still use like photographic exposure to tone map things yourself there. Usually I prefer this way to do like tone mapping and stuff. It's a little bit, I don't know, more flexible or more controllable. Okay, we'll do material network. I just haven't converted my HDRIs or done enough preparation and stuff with it. I think it's definitely helpful, but I'm waiting a little bit. Like I think the Redshift implementation might still be changing a little bit, but for quick like projects like this, you can work without ASUS. Like if you're just messing around for a day, but if you're working on like a project with a team or a client and stuff, and you want to do like more specific color management and that kind of stuff, it makes a lot more sense to use it. But generally, if I'm just messing around, I don't know, I won't turn it on, and you can always turn it on later and see how it works. But I just haven't converted these maps, so I don't have enough experience with it right now to switch over. So we have this, we'll get our color attribute like that. And we could, I don't know if we're gonna try like plastic. So I'm trying to make a couple shaders, a couple materials here. One's going to be regular plastic and one will be like more shiny subsurface type. So I don't know if we could get more subsurface in here. Sometimes it can go a little slow to sample the subsurface stuff this way. Another option you have instead of the subsurface, you can always do this extinction, or you can use the subsurface model down here that works from kind of refraction. We could try it and see how it works. So if you want to get some reflectivity or specular, you do have to start to increase the IOR, so it's not 1. You can play with this stuff to simulate like more of a material that things have to go through, how thick stuff is. But sometimes for like semi-transparent stuff, I don't know, this, it's a little bit faster, or it's a little bit more like artist friendly than the subsurface, the full like multi-scattering subsurface. I'm trying to get closer to red. Something that isn't as we're quite gelatinous over here with our it's like a jelly or something like that, so you might want to do this. So it's up to you, I guess. I'm trying to kind of make it look like an inflated balloon, but it's up to you if you want to do this approach or working with like the full subsurface model. Sometimes you want to split this stuff out a little bit, so the refraction could be more blurry, but the reflections are still a little bit sharper. So we could just move forward with this and see what happens. So I want to do a material blend basically, based off of these colors. So we'll do base, layer, and we'll blend it based off of this point attribute, or black and white point attribute. Let's just see what happens. I might have flipped around. I think it's working. Oh my god. Shades of Orange. Thank you for the 14 months. Let's go. Yeah, this is kind of like a ballooned up. I kind of was like trying around with like rubber balloons or something like that. But he has some issues for sure. So I think these ones, I want them a little bit more rubbery feeling, with like deflated, uninflated rubber or whatever. And I was trying these kind of like how see-through this stuff is going to be. We can also work with maybe the power function. Making it lower, that will start to spread out this stuff, so our material blend will happen like a little bit earlier. We might want to get rid of this background. We could try some different rotations and stuff. I don't know. And try maybe just... It's a little bit boring. This might look better with less saturation. Let's try something like this. I don't know, I'm gonna try making my curves a little bit bigger. I don't think it's working that well to be able to see through him as much as we are there. This is, you came in right during the tweak zone part of it. But yeah, we basically have this, we did a simulation with Vellum. So these bits are all inflating based off of like a mask and stuff like that. And now I'm just playing around with the lost in the render, the lighting zone. But yeah, I think this is a little bit better now with stuff a bit bigger. We could go even bigger to fill in more of these gaps and stuff. I don't know if we want to make this one maybe more rough or more like a paper or something. We could always try some different camera angles. Yeah, I was trying to, I switched I'm just doing two different materials now, but I was trying the subsurface stuff a little bit earlier. I was worried it's just going to be too slow to render like that. You could try it and see how it works. The subsurface might be better. I was using this like the extinction model. Yeah, I was using the extinction model. It seems a little bit more like artist friendly, but I feel like you can get more unrealistic materials. Like it's not as physically accurate as the subsurface. But yeah, I have a feeling this, I do like the look of the subsurface stuff a little bit better. The ground beef. This is the real creepy pasta. Yeah, I don't know. I think that this view we were doing earlier is pretty good. So yeah, we'll try this. And we can do another, just save this as a new version. If you guys want to keep up to date, you can grab the file there. This looks like a bun. I might have gone too extreme with this. So I think if you have that that power too low, it's going to be too contrasty or whatever in those areas. Like if I go all the way to that, it's just a super sharp fall off or whatever. And maybe something like this is a little bit more interesting. All right, we're gonna try a speed run power render. Let's do, you can save it to disk. We'll just do that. We can also have it in mplay. I might just try this progressive rendering. I think this might be if you really want to speed run stuff, I think that progressive rendering might be where it's at. And I might, before I do this, we'll just take one more stab at this photographic exposure. We'll just dial in some quick look. Get these highlights and stuff looking a little bit nicer. Ooh. Like this bloom, you have to be a little bit careful with it. It's easy to get to blast it. All right, something like that. Should be good. Did you keep the stripey edit? Yeah, that's in the scene file. I believe the one you're talking about. If you go over to this other node tree, you should see the ribbon effect into stripes or strips. Is that what you're this one from earlier? So yeah, if you look at the other node tree or whatever, just over to the left of that file I shared, it should be there. A separate PC dedicated for streaming, like you use a capture card. Yeah, so I have an older computer that's not as powerful, that I'm using this, like the Elgato 4K capture card or something like that. But yeah, it seems like with OBS and everything and using Redshift, I used to do it all on one computer, but it would the FPS and stuff would get super choppy when I started to render. So with the other capture card, everything is a little bit smoother now. Let's just go quickly with these RS lights. I don't know if I can get just a quick might be able to do some quick edits here to get things looking a little bit better. I feel like the HDRI is like a little bit too uninteresting, or like you can use it as a fill light like that and get nice reflections and stuff. But if you use these like more of like studio lights, you can really get like direct the eye and like dial stuff in and get a nice, a little bit nicer presentation. Thank you. Yeah, I've still been looking into ways to get my latency down. I feel like I might be a little bit of a delay, but I've been just slowly making improvements and stuff like that over time. Oof. Uh-oh. What happens here? Let's do image. View. Fit. Window to image. Uh-oh. I've really... Alright, we'll just try. The audio crackles a little bit. I haven't heard of the photonic computers. That file, if you go in the chat archive or anything like that, you can find it still. I did record that portion earlier as well as a separate separate recording, but that will be available. It should be available as well. So yeah, I'm just going through this progressive mode. We can see it has a lot of noise and stuff in the subsurface areas, but for starting to render and stuff on stream, I think it might be more productive. It's more helpful for you guys to see like previews or whatever, even if it is super noisy. But yeah, sorry if the mic is crackling. I think I might have too many devices, too many wires plugged in. But yeah, I need to iron some of that stuff out as well. I feel like it's not like a noise gate issue. It's like it's definitely from, I don't know, the audio interface or something. So I'm just trying to think here what it's the fresh crackle of the simulation. It's just like a grill. It's like sizzling. It's like you put it on the grill. Yeah, I don't know. It might be that. I think for me, I just have too many wires and too many things plugged in close together. It's like when you have your cell phone, like somewhere in my mess of cables, I'm rerouting audio, like because I have the microphone plugged into my streaming PC, and then I also have the audio out from my Linux redirected into the like audio in of the Windows, the OBS PC. So I think it's one of those two connections might be introducing some crackling. It's possible if I'm not doing music, if I just mute the audio in from the computer, that might fix it. Okay, so I'm seeing a couple things that I might try to fix before wrapping up. I think that this stuff here is deflating too quickly. I could adjust that kind of stuff like post simulation, and it should work a little bit better. Like I think if this balloon stuff lasts a little bit longer before shrinking back down, we can get something that looks a little cooler. It might be the, I don't know, the specular looks okay. I might actually want to feed the SSS radius and have that like driven by the color. But yeah, these should be some quick changes. We'll just do them quickly. So basically here where we're adjusting the color, if we just do a SOP solver, this you can do to make the color not fade as quickly. So basically everything will be this current input, but we can do the previous color and grab that from the previous frame. And then if we take the current color and we can do maybe like the maximum, maybe a lerp. This is like a mix. So we only want to update to the current or the new color like more gradually, if that makes sense. So you can see that it sticks around a little bit longer than before. We'll give that a try. Roman Mo, thank you for the 2 months. 2-month streak. Let's go. So yeah, this is just a quick dirty wrangle or whatever inside of the solver. But I think that will make things look a little bit more interesting. So we should get, we could even try a little less of a blend like that. So that should be good. I'm just playing around with these values here. So ideally, I'm trying to get like a little bit of a mixture between these ribbed feeling. I don't want it to be completely smooth like that. Maybe something like this. All right. And then the last thing I was going to change is just driving the subsurface radius. If we look here, it's like 0.05. It might not let us doesn't let us plug anything into that global scale. But we can do it maybe if we just pump it into all these. I don't know if that's the proper way to do it. We'll see what happens. So ideally this stuff down here will have a lower scatter radius. That should help with like some of the noise. I think it should look a little bit more natural. I want to do this as an exponent. Oh, I was doing the wrong one. Alright, let's back up. Whew. So this is the balloon shader. The inflated shader. Alright, now it looks like it's working. So you can see here, if I really reduce it, we just get a ton of noise in those thinner areas, but doing that should help it a little bit. Alright, we'll do that. We'll turn on GI. Just make things look maybe a little bit more natural. I'm gonna dim that HDRI a little bit more. Maybe we want this one bigger. Alright, we'll do one more adjustment just to this paper style shader. The white part. I'm just trying to balance the brightness of everything. I don't know, I think it looks kind of weird. Super dark. It's a little funky. Does the normalize intensity do? I never used it with my lights. So it's basically like in real life, as you adjust the size of lights, it will contribute more intensity, or each unit will be like one more lumen. There's like formulas you can figure out or whatever. The normalize will compensate your light intensity for the size of it. This is kind of like an approximation of it or whatever, but like depends on the area of your light to affect the intensity of where it hits. And basically the normalized intensity will preserve the same. Like if I don't have that on, I would have to keep adjusting or compensating my intensity as I adjust the size of the light. So if you already have your intensity dialed in and you don't want to keep messing around with it, then you can try out like really big lights and stuff like that without having to mess around with just to keep adjusting the intensity or whatever. Just if you're working quickly, it's nice to turn that on so you don't have to mess around with as many settings or whatever. But this should be good. I might get rid of, I don't know, a little less smoothing. Trying to preserve more of these ridges that are down here. To keep this feeling like it's individual strings or whatever. I don't know. This is kind of a weird artifact, but it might be kind of cool. So we'll leave it like this. Okay. I think we're good for right now. Just save it again. If you guys want to get up to date, you can grab that file, and I'll do a quick render again. Any plans to do Arnold GPU rendering streams? I don't have an Arnold license, unfortunately. I did a little bit of it with the OSL stuff, but I think I'm worried it's too much for me to focus on different renderers, like even learning or keeping up with them. Arnold's really powerful, but I just haven't spent enough time looking into it. If you look at Arvid, he has really good Arnold GPU stuff, I believe. I don't know about... He definitely uses Houdini. I don't know if he's covered Arnold GPU within Houdini. But if you check him out on Twitter, he has some really good Arnold GPU streams. So yeah, you can check him out there. He definitely does do Houdini stuff, but I think if he's just doing look dev, he'll usually stay in Maya. Alright. Let's see where we are with this. So yeah, I'm just doing the progressive rendering just to try to keep it quick or whatever. I might have lost a little bit with this like radius here. I'm hoping to see this stuff get a little bit like bigger and brighter. I'm gonna try one more thing. I think for this one I'm just gonna go like a little bit lower res to try to speed things up. So if we look at this color, I think this might help a little bit, like keep it, it will grab the brighter value instead of just going between like the previous and current frame. So that should help a little bit. You might also just want to do like a quick increase of the exposure as well. So I think that will help make the render look a little bit better. I'm also just gonna make some quick adjustments to this stuff. Trying to make it look more inflated. I think that might be a little bit better. All right. I'm just gonna start at a later frame. I think the opening portion of it is a little boring. Get into the gnarly bits here. So yeah, I think with the redshift, like progressive rendering, to me this is the closest I've been able to get to like something close to real time. We're getting like 1 frame every 10 seconds right now, which isn't too bad, but we're nowhere. We're still waiting for redshift RT, something that's like couple frame 2 FPS or something. I have a feeling the SOP operations, like all of the VDB remeshing stuff, that part might actually be taking longer than the render right now, but just for quick previews, it makes sense to work this way, so you don't waste too much time before you like really know what you want. When I was starting out with redshift, I would try to like remove all the noise and spend a lot of time dialing stuff in, but I don't know, you kind of realize you'll spend like an hour, 3 hours rendering something just to see you don't like how it looks. So the quickest you can get just an idea of what's going on, it's better to work that way if you can. But yeah, I think overall it's starting to look somewhat interesting. I didn't want to tweak the simulation too much, but it could definitely use like some more work just to get some of these areas like a little bit. This part here is slappy, but this is pretty interesting to me how that stuff is it's working pretty well. It's like full of worms. His brain is full of worms. But yeah, I'll let this render. We'll get another like 20-ish frames out, and probably leave it there for today. I think I might have gone a little bit too wild, like too big with the SSS radius. I think that's what's introducing like a lot of this noise over here. It's okay. The noise adds to it. Yeah, I have a lot of artifacts right now that are giving me an interesting so giving me an interesting like lo-fi type of feel or something like that. The marshmallow boy. Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like I want to see more of these transitions happening. I might have delayed things too long. Like it should get maybe pulled back into place more quickly. But it's working. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, I don't know. The black and white one is almost more interesting. What would you say is the best way to approach learning Houdini? Should I start with Vex or just follow tutorials? I recently got into 3D this year. If you just recently got into 3D, I would say to try not to use Vex and just learn Houdini nodes. It can get overwhelming if you try to do too much at once. But I would say just follow tutorials and just learn the geometry operations, like procedural modeling, a lot of that stuff. If you learn that first, then it becomes easier to do simulations and Vex and the more advanced stuff later on. But I think just starting out, if you just don't worry about like rendering, don't worry about Vex too much, don't worry about I think if you already know Python, it's still a pretty big advantage to learn Vex. Inside of Houdini, Python is not multi-threaded unless you are using like NumPy or taking a lot of time to multi-thread stuff yourself. But like geometry operations with Python are a lot slower. With Vex, it will multi-thread everything for free. So that's why people will do like deformers and all of those like geometry manipulations with Vex in it. It will be a lot faster. So I wouldn't say it's a waste of time at all if you're serious about using Houdini. It's really powerful with Vex, but it's definitely the advanced area of things to be in. So yeah, we'll probably leave it here for today. I'm going to just interrupt the render. And if you guys want the very latest, I'll just save it, distribute it again. And you should have the pretty much exact same thing that I have here. So you get the file there. And yeah, that will be it for today. Thanks everyone for subscribing, coming back and everything like that. Sorry I was away for a couple weeks, but we'll be getting back to it now. So yeah, have a good rest of your day. And feel free to go. Forget to talk about it that much, but we do have the Discord for questions and stuff like that offline or anything, feel free to hop in there and start hammering things out. So yeah, take it easy.